On this episode of the Carolina Sports Guy, we're going to dive in, folks, talk about some Carolina Panther news. It's been a few days old now, but time to rehash it and also talk about these playoffs the Panthers aren't involved in. Before we get into today's content, make sure you subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. Pound that like button, hit that bell notification to be notified of future videos like this on the Panthers. And by all means, folks, leave me some comments. Uncle Chucky loves the dialogue. All right, folks. Kind of wanted to cover a few things. We've got the college draft coming up where we're picking number 6. Definitely hope we're going for offensive linemen, but you never know what'll happen. We could even trade down, but I definitely think we need to build this line for a change, and we've got some good linemen coming out. Now, number 2, we got to look at free agency. How many guys are going to lose? Some of the losses we have, they might be a good idea that we lose them right now. And who we're going to try to bring in. So it's going to be interesting. Now, one of the big things we got to really look at here is Matt Rhule. There's a lot of talk about Matt Rhule. Nobody wants to work with him. And we brought in Ben McAdoo, who was head coach of the New York Giants. Now, I knew some Giant fans that did not like Ben McAdoo. But as an offensive coordinator, when he was at Green Bay and then for the Giants, he wasn't half bad, folks, as a coordinator. Now, the one thing about it, he'll bring more than a play sheet that Joe Brady bought. Now, how much can he work with Sam Darnold? What else we're going to bring in? Who at quarterback? I don't think P.J. Walker's the answer. I think Cam Newton definitely played his last game in Charlotte, which is a shame. And I didn't have a problem with it being his last game. I just think that we should have let the man go on top and scored one more time is what we should have done. That was the only thing that we could have done as a franchise. It's kind of hard to blame Tepper because he's not trying to meddle with the coaching staff and who gets in what play and game. But Rhule really shit the bed on that. And I really think that at one time he was elevated above Ron Rivera when Rivera was here and couldn't get out of his own way to where Matt Rhule now looks like a running joke. He really does. Excuse me. But I really want to look at this Ben McAdoo hire. It's really the best scenario we could expect. No, it's not going to be glitzy and glamorous. No, people like Pep Hamilton weren't going to come here. Nobody wants to work with Matt Rhule. But I think Ben McAdoo realizes his chance to get his feet wet again. If he could take a franchise like this, he can do no worse than what we've had lately as offensive coordinator. And if he can come in and revitalize, help Sam Darnold, help whatever quarterback we have, get McCaffrey healthy. If we can actually build the offensive line right, maybe we can see a little bit of progression. And like, guys, our offense sucked. It was terrible. And if he can come in and get us in the middle of the pack, maybe towards the back end of the top 10 of the league, that's going to look good on his resume for him to move on. Hopefully Matt Rhule won't get fired or leave the Panthers, and McAdoo would be a head coaching candidate. I definitely don't want that. But as an offensive coordinator, I'm okay with it. Now, the other elephant in the room to address is Matt Rhule. A lot of people were talking about that he had the Penn State job on his mind, and that's his alma mater. I think we're screwed either way. If Matt Rhule stays, I don't think he's going to be able to turn his program around. Now, I'll root for the Panthers next year. Of course I will. I want him to do well. I like for him to prove us wrong. But in less than a season, he's really changed my mind of what kind of head coach he can be. Because his first season, I thought, was pretty adequate for what the games they lost, how close they were, coming in under the COVID rules. I thought that he did a fairly adequate job. A few mistakes were made, yes. But he really shit the bed this year. The kicking situation, quarterback carousel, saving 4 or 5 tight ends on the preseason roster, on the initial 53-man roster. Some of the moves that were made were terrible. Some of the coaching decisions, some of the in-game planning, no halftime adjustments. Got to look at Matt Rhule. Now, something I do want to say about it is if Matt Rhule does take this Michigan job, it's not going to be a swap, folks. It's not going to be like, wow, he took the Michigan job. Jim Harbaugh's ours. No, if Jim Harbaugh goes back to the NFL, he's not coming to Charlotte. Probably go somewhere like Miami. Sorry, folks. I'd probably go somewhere like Miami. It's more of a glamour, glitzy job, a team on the rise. Even a coach that got fired like Brian Flores that didn't deserve it won't come to Carolina. If Rhule gets fired, he's going to be hired away by somebody else. But the bad thing is, if Rhule is to take like the Michigan job, we better have Fitterer on the ground in Tepper looking for a man to replace him. I've said all along that Rhule's not going to make it past next year. I really don't think. Now, they could turn things around, see improvement, maybe save his job. But I really don't think Matt Rhule is going to be a long-term answer here. Even if he was to turn around partially and Tepper's on the fence with him, I think the first good college gig comes along, Rhule's gone. He's gone. So I really think we've got to be in the short term, and I say short term, I'm talking about within less than a year, we've got to be looking for a head coaching candidate who's going to maybe not be a big name, but a guy who deserves a job from the NFL ranks that would really turn the program around and get us going in the right direction again. And I don't think that coach is there right now, or has been identified, should I say. I believe the process is sifting it out. It's almost like sifting for gold. You got some in the pan, you can hear it. But until you get all that sand shifted over time, you don't know how much you got or what you got. And I think we know there's a candidate or two out there that we'd love to have. They haven't really come and shown their face, or we don't really know who it is yet. And I think time's going to play out to where we'll know that in about, in less than a year. So that's why if Matt Rhule's to leave, don't get excited like Jim Harbaugh's coming. He's not. But also don't get excited because it's not going to really leave us many options. In fact, we really need Rhule to stay. And my main focus on needing Rhule to stay is to give Fitterer and company enough time to find who would be the right person, who would be the right fit, who would be the coach to come in here and get this thing turned around the right way. Because if Rhule leaves right now, we've got to choose somebody quickly, and we're probably going to end up choosing somebody who's not going to be the right fit that we want down the road. That's going to be the negative thing about it. All right. I also want to talk about these playoffs right now because the Panthers are out. We sucked this year. The Saints didn't make the playoffs. I was happy. Atlanta didn't make the playoffs. I was happy. I was glad Rivera didn't make the playoffs. Everybody keeps talking about Buffalo because of all the former Panthers. I'm not one to root against former Panthers, but I am one to root against an organization that took Brandon Beane away when it was clear that Gettleman was going to prime him to take Gettleman's place. And the Bills come in and swooped him up. And we got stuck with Hurney. And, rest is history. With Brandon Beane going to Buffalo, it kind of screwed us over. And just like they got the best deal with Sean McDermott, I think he's a much better head coach than Ron Rivera. Some of the players were let go. They wanted too much money, but they've had some guys fit in with them. Starla Talele at the time was better to keep, I won't say Trey Turner, but he's offensive lineman. It was better to keep Quan Short at the time. So we've had some players who've come through our team and who've gone up to Buffalo and done well. And I wish them well, but I'm not going to bid on their bandwagon like it's the Carolina Panthers Part 2. There is only one Carolina Panthers team for me. Everybody else doesn't matter. So there's that. But isn't it nice to watch the playoffs? Did you see Dallas lose to San Francisco? I'm not a San Francisco fan, but to see Dallas lose to San Francisco, wasn't it great to see Jerry Jones sitting there like a sick pickle? He looked like a pickle in human skin in that suit, a pickle with a suit on. It was so glamorous to see him lose. And all those Cowboy fans cry. I also like to see Big Ben in Pittsburgh. I don't have no respect. I don't care about Pittsburgh. I'm not a Pittsburgh fan. I know they got a lot of fans that don't give a shit about them. You've won enough. It's time Ben Roethlisberger lost and Pittsburgh got out the door. That was great. They were done. Then it was really good, I think, to see Green Bay lose. The Civil War Ken Burns edition of the Aaron Rodgers with his haircut. To see those freaking Green Bay fat, crusty people. I'm around surrounded by so many Green Bay fans. So good to see Aaron Rodgers get beat. Even though I don't like San Fran, it was so good to see him lose. And it was so good to see Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Of course, being Tampa Bay, thanks for arrival. To see Tom Brady get sick in his stomach and lose. To cry and bitch and moan and get a penalty today. It was so good to see Tampa Bay eliminated and Brady. And, regardless of what happens, I don't want San Francisco in the Super Bowl. I'd rather see the Rams. I don't care about either one, but I'm just over San Fran. Probably has a lot to do with a couple playoff games we've had with them. One playoff game, really, with Colin Kaepernick. Don't care if Buffalo, Kansas City, who's won that game. I'll put the score up right here because it's being played right now. But I don't care if Kansas City goes back or if Buffalo gets in there. And Cincinnati's upstart. Don't mind seeing them get in the Super Bowl. But it's interesting to see Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh out. Dak Prescott, Jerry Jones, and the Cowboys out. Tom Brady in Tampa Bay out. Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay out. Very, very happy. Couldn't be happier because they get tired of seeing their fan bases and so-called fans get sick of them. And Bill Belichick in New England's out. Good for them. Glad that's kind of happened too. So as far as Carolina goes, folks, we can just sit back, see what happens with Matt Rhule, get this coaching staff settled. We did let our special teams coach go. He needed to go. He was a good player for us at one time. I'm not even going to speak his name. He needed to go. And start looking at the college draft, where you've got to maybe move down, get some more picks, or we're going to have to pick a very good offensive lineman, in my opinion, not a quarterback, and see where else we can fall in the draft, what we have left to pick. Just make great picks. Not going to have the picks we had last year. And free agents is where we really got to hit the ground running. We really got to make smart, wise picks. No big names, but guys would actually be good backups who deserve a better payday, that we can come in and play a good, solid role on our team and maybe even take a starting job or two. Hope we can retain Frankie Louvu. I hope we can train Hassan Reddick. Other than that, I'm not going to be upset if we see some other people walk. I really am not. Ian Thomas. Some of these offensive linemen, Cam Irvin, let them go. Let them go. It's time we drafted a center I think we need to look at. I think we need a left tackle. Maybe Brady Christensen to guard. Maybe get one more guard in the draft. But I'm not sold. I just think we need to draft a guard for depth because I think Deontay Brown and Christensen can be that. But I really do think we need a left tackle. Keep moting it right. And we definitely need a center. I'm telling you, folks. And on the defense, we've got to have a linebacker. Whether it's free agents or the draft, we've got to have a really stud linebacker. Jermaine Carter's got to go. I don't mind Shaq Thompson. Carter's got to go. And maybe get a safety. Get a safety in the defensive end of it all. Probably losing Dante Jackson at corner, but we've got enough pieces at corner. We just need to bring a safety in to go with Jeremy Chin and see what we got. Okay, folks, what do you think of today's video? Are you excited about the Ben McAdoo hire? What do you think of the playoffs? Who are you excited to see who's already gone? And what do you think about Matt Rhule? Are you ready for him to go? Or are you kind of saying, hold the phone, folks. Let's hold on to him until we can get the coach in play. Leave me some comments. I love the dialogue. Pound that like button. Hit that bell notification. Be notified of future videos like this on the Panthers. And by all means, folks, subscribe. Uncle Chucky would greatly appreciate it. It's free. I'll see you next time on another episode of Carolina Sports Guy.